What's going on, YouTube? We're back at it for another video, and today we're starting the first of many in a series that I'll be doing on the best stashes per zone. We'll start off with the garbage zone right now, and we'll be making our way over to the wild island and then further down, and then for each one of the zones I'll be doing a video where it's basically going through and picking out the best of the stash spots that you can find inside of each one of these. That's going to give you something more than resources such as weapon attachments, blueprints for your weapons, new armors, full durability weapons, anything that's either going to give you some coupons or get you some type of new gear that's going to benefit you in the future. That being said, we've got more than a few things to cover, so let's get straight into it. Now, the first stash that we're going to hit is going to be on the southern portion of the garbage zone at these dual buildings. In the very back corner of this building, we're going to find our first stash spot. Now, starting from outside the two buildings, we'll be heading over towards the one on the right, and just in front of it, we'll find a person laying on the ground that'll actually have a PDA that'll give us the information on where to find this. But once we go into the building, we'll turn on our handy flashlight and then head all the way to the very back and then head over here to the left where we find some boxes. Past this point, we'll have to go through some more boxes, or at least some more wood, in order to gain access to the loot spot itself. And just underneath these boxes over here, you'll notice we have our little stash spot. Got a full durability Makarov, as well as a UDP along with a silencer for that can also be used on the MAC-10. And after you've grabbed your loot from over here, we'll actually just be heading right down the road for our second spot. Now let's head right on down there. Now, once you've made it over to the second stash spot, you may have heard some wild noises, and I'll definitely say you're going to need the shotgun at the ready, people, as there's more than a few mutants inside of here that we'll have to deal with, and not just that dog that was peeking his head out. Now, we won't be able to access it just yet as the door is locked, but we'll just need to head to the house over to the left of this in order to get the key to unlock this door. So once we head in, we'll just go all the way to the left, and there'll be a TV set that's empty with a key in the middle. And we'll also have some loot right off to the right of it, so do grab up those resources. They're always going to come in handy at a later point. But from that point, we'll be able to head back to the stash building and then unlock the door and deal with the ferocious animals inside, which we've got an interesting plethora of different animals to deal with right here. And then apparently drowsiness is hitting me. But thankfully, the shotgun's gonna get the job done, even though that cat is one painful animal to deal with.
Bad timing, man.
Now, once you've finished off those mutants, you'll just need to head on in, and we'll actually have two things that we'll be able to grab up. First is going to be an AK-74U that's got full durability over here on the workbench, and then the number one thing that we'll be coming here for is actually the high-capacity AKM-74 magazine. Now, this will not fit into the AK-74U, but it will fit into the AKM-74S. So if you've got the one with the scope on it from the first zone and the lesser zone, or if you've got any other AKM-74S, you'll now have a 45-round magazine capable of any one of those AKs. And you'll have some additional loot on top of that as well, and being able to grab up some ammunition on top of that. Now, the next loot spot we're going to hit is just north of us at the plant location. What we'll need to do is actually hit this little tower outside first, but in order to access that, we'll have to head through the gate over here on the right side. But let's head over there now. Now, once you've made it over to the gate at the plant, you'll just need to head straight on in, and you'll notice the bridge walkway that we'll need to get on top of. But in order to gain access to that, we'll actually need to go into this building over here on the right, and from this point, head over to our left and be able to climb this ladder in order to gain access to the end of the bridge. Now, we will have a sniper at the very other end of this bridge, but don't be alarmed, as we'll have two anomalies that we'll need to walk through, which are going to be the shards of glass that'll be floating around. Now, the best way to be able to move through these shards of glass is just by crouching and moving through them, as if you're just walking slowly through it, it won't cause that bleed effect. But at the same time, don't worry about the sniper being able to fire at you just yet, as anytime this shard anomaly is available, you won't be able to shoot through it, and nor will any one of your enemies. But as we get a little bit closer, we'll be able to just come in and pop the head off that guy pretty quickly. But from that point, we'll actually get a SVDM. Now, it may not be of the highest durability, but more than likely it's going to be yellow for you, and it's something that you can end up using. Now, this isn't the big thing that we're actually coming here for. We're just going to grab up some of this loot and be able to grab up a ton of vodka and beer over here, as well as a little PDA moment. But the number one thing that we're actually coming over here for is grabbing up that loot, taking that guy out, and then dropping down over to our right to be able to get up to be able to access a free artifact. Now, you could have just grabbed the artifact, but I felt as though the SVDM or that sniper rifle is going to be a bit more worthwhile than just grabbing the artifact. You can't go wrong with having a bit more coupons or a bit more loot in order to either sell or use for yourself later on. But that being said, let's keep it moving. Coming up right after that, we do have 2 stash locations at the slag heap that I would highly suggest people actually grab up. One of them does come with a weapons attachment, and the other one is going to come with a piece of armor that's going to end up being pretty beneficial for you, especially if you've just moved into the garbage zone. But let's head over there now. Now, once you're at the slag heap, we'll actually be able to just access both of these through this ladder over here on the left side of the double doors. We'll head up this ladder and take a little bit of a stroll going up. And we'll just make our way over to the left, and we've got another ladder that we'll need to head right on up. Now, for the first stash that we'll need to hit, we'll be heading over to our right after we get off this ladder, and we'll need to head up a little bit higher. The second one will actually just be right there, funny enough. And we'll need to jump over like we did for, I think it was Richter's stash. Or no, it was Nestor's stash, that was it. We'll just meet Richter over there. But after we've gone up this ladder over here on the right, there is a couple of items you can pick up over here. Some things that are just resources for you. But over here on the scaffolding on our left is where we're going to drop down again, drop down to over here. And then head over to our left from this top balcony right here. And we'll be able to jump over through this box over towards this ladder. Now from this point, we'll actually just be able to jump right on down. And right here, we've got a gas mask, full durability, and ready to use for ourselves, as well as some resources to grab up as well. Don't forget those resources. But this helmet should be pretty good. More than likely, it's either going to be an upgrade for you, or it's either going to be some vendor trash that more than likely is going to net you more than a few coupons, worth your while to come up and grab it, or possibly throw it into the stash for one of those rainy days when you don't have enough to repair some of those pieces of armor you may have, and you need something to work with until you can actually get those coupons back on up. But from this point, how we'll exit is just heading over back to that ladder that we saw when we dropped down, and then we'll head over to our right, and we'll jump down onto the scaffolding over here. And we'll actually be able to grab up a little bit more loot over here as we'll jump down over to our right over here, go up this ladder, and just over this we'll find ourselves at another bag that we can actually loot. We'll be able to get some loot out of that. I've already looted it personally, but from this point, do be careful and make sure you have stamina available to jump, as you will die if you don't miss it, or if you don't make this jump. But sprint, and then jump over to the scaffolding, and you'll easily be able to just jump your way down. And then from this point, we don't even need to use the ladders. We'll just keep kind of falling on through them, and be able to survive, and you can actually survive this fall as well, and not even take any more damage. Now, to make it over to the second stash spot, we'll need to head back up that ladder that we first went up in the first place. And yet again, we're back in the same cycle. And then we'll hit the same second ladder that we hit in the first time. But this time, we'll be heading over to the left in order to make it on top of a crane that we have over on the left side of the slag heap itself. Now, this one will end up netting us a weapon attachment, and it'll be pretty useful for some people out there, especially if you've been using the AKM. But in order to access this, we'll need to jump over the railing onto this crane right here, then onto this bridge, and over to our right. We'll move up along the grassy portion, and there will be a bit of radiation right here, so do have some vodka or some type of radiation protection, as it will hit you for a moment and start to spike, but as soon as we make it up onto the crane, it'll stop that spike. So you do kind of want to make a little bit of fast movement over there. But from this point, we'll need to jump over to the left, and whew, almost lost my footing right there. But then we'll crouch down, and we'll actually be able to get the PS4 4x scope that we can put on our AKM S4U, or S4S, instead of 74U, S4S. 74U, goodness, that dyslexia is just hitting at all times these days. But this is going to be a nice little scope that you can pop on whenever you'd like to on that AKM. I've used it more than a few times, and it is fantastic. You can kind of just take it off for moments when you're going indoors and for close quarters combat, or pop it on for any time that you're out and about, just looking to have a little bit of a long range option. Now from this point, if you're looking to exit, you'll want to jump back up on top of here, and there's a couple of items you can grab over here if you'd like to. But if you're looking to just immediately exit, all you need to do is just run back on down, jump over to your left, and then head back down the bridge that we came up on. And at the very bottom of this, we'll just be able to easily drop right on down, and we'll be back at the front portion of the slag heap and ready to move on to our next stash location. Now, the next stash location we're going to hit is actually at the hydroelectric station. Now, some people have already been here, and more than likely you will end up going through this building itself, as it is a part of the main quest line, but some people may have missed two items inside of here, either just bum rushing through it and just trying to get out alive, or didn't know how to turn off the scanner that's inside and be able to access some of the loot, or possibly even just missed one of the loot chests at the very end while they're exiting. And it's very easy to actually get this done. I did it the first time, but you will be missing out on a weapon attachment as well as a blueprint. But we'll head over there now. Now, once we come over to the hydroelectric plant, you'll notice that we've got a bit of a balloon popping anomaly that can be quite dangerous. And the best way to actually deal with this is to simply slow walk in and wait for it to pop up in front of you, as whatever direction you're moving in is where it will end up spawning. So if you are backpedaling, that's why it'll spawn behind you, so do be careful of that. But if you ended up going in and just running, you'd more than likely find yourself in a situation where it would end up just popping directly in front of your face, or you just literally run straight into it. But from that point, we'll easily be able to drop down into here, and you'll notice we do have a scanner over here on our right. Now, it's not active right now, so we're about to just run over there, jump over to the left side, and then get up in front of it, and we'll be able to actually turn this off. We got pretty close right there. It did activate itself and start to electrocute us, so we could have ended up having a bit of a problem right there. But after we've turned that off, even the flame geyser anomalies will also be turned off as well. And just right here, we'll end up actually having a blueprint on that guy right there. That's going to give us the capability of increasing or decreasing the recoil with something like the vector. And over here, this guy will end up having the key card that we're looking for, as well as some more medical supplies over there in that back corner. But from that point, we'll be able to head over to the ladder over here, and we'll need to head up on this and then go into the room on our right. And this is where we'll actually be able to gain the weapon attachment. And this is where we'll be able to gain the weapon attachment for the MAC-10. Over here in this back corner, there is a blue little chest. And once we open this, we'll end up finding the extended magazine for the MAC-10, which is the high capacity M10 magazine, giving us the capability of having 40 rounds with the M10, or was it? I believe it was 40. I think it starts off at 30 and then goes up to 40. But I can't remember specifically right now, as well as just gaining a bit more of those resources. And around the room, there's a bit more that you can grab up, a bit of healing over here, and then we'll be able to easily just walk on out. Now, I do believe that the balloon popping may still end up happening, even though we've turned off the scanner, but a lot of times you're easily able to just run right on out. Now, the next stash spot we're going to go for is northeast of the slag heap. We'll be heading over to where it is considered the commissary over here, if you haven't already searched this location. But there is a building over here on the right that we'll be able to access and get some armor out of. But let's head on over there. And once we've made it over to the building at the commissary, we'll just need to head through the front door and then right up the stairs. And from the point of the top of the stairs, we'll just need to head over to our left, and inside this room on our left is where we're going to find some armor, which is going to be the military body armor, as well as a bit of that resources we can just grab up from any portion of this, as there will be a little bit more of the resources around the building itself. But the armor is going to be the number one thing that we'll grab up, and this is just something that's either going to end up being some vendor trash for you, as it is less powerful than the Guardian of Freedom suit, which I've had in a previous video. If you'd like to actually find out where to get the Guardian of Freedom suit, head to my previous video of the best early loot that you can grab up, even though we will have another video coming out soon that will end up giving an even better armor for early game. But be on the lookout for that in the future, and hit that subscribe button, as we have plenty more of that content coming in the future. But at this point, it's something that's just going to either give us some coupons or have something to put in the stash for a later rainy day if we don't have enough of those coupons in order to repair some of this armor, which is going to happen quite often in the future, sadly enough. And coming up for the finale, our last stash spot is going to be at the northernmost point of the garbage zone. It's going to be at this little checkpoint gate up top here. Now, I will highly suggest to come with some decent amount of ammo, or at least a decent weapon, and some medkits, as we will have to deal with more than a few enemies here, but it's going to be worthwhile by the time we actually get to the stash spot, and more than likely, I'd imagine some people have been frustrated as to where to find the stash spot over here, but we'll give you the easy tips on how to get up to it, as it did take me a moment to figure it out, but now that I have kind of given it a once over, it's very easy to see where you need to jump up to in order to actually gain access to this. But we'll head over there now. Now, once you've taken out all the enemies that are out here, as there is more than a few, and you may have noticed at the top screen of the compass, there's more than a few of those little X's. You'll have quite the little firefight here, and a whole lot of weapons laying around on the ground that'll hopefully end up being some vendor trash for you to get some more of those coupons. But in order to access the very last stash, we'll need to get up on this railing over here, and to jump up on top of this, we'll need to jump onto this doorway right here, and then up onto this little railing right here, and up top, we'll be able to gain access to our final stash spot, which is going to be a blueprint for the MAC-10 Gordon, which is going to give us a rubber layer, giving us a bit more of that recoil control with the weapon. So if you're somebody that's been using the MAC-10, this is going to be something worthwhile for you. But on top of this, this is actually a location where you can farm certain patrols and get some weapons off them and then run it back to the slag heap and be able to actually make some currency off this. But at the same time, the first time you come here, there is a plethora of different bodies that you'll be able to clean and pick up from, and just have a whole lot to be able to just turn into vendor trash, or at the same time just gain some ammo from. But that's going to be the video right there. Hopefully this has helped out some people out there, giving you a bit more of a insight on where to find some of the better loot, especially in the early portion of the game. Oh God help me, things are going from bad to worse, people. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments below what's been your favorite stash pots so far. What are your favorite guns inside of the game? And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to see some of this content live, hit that link down in the description. Follow me over at Twitch. We'll be streaming daily. And on that note, have a good one.